I think Jesus said, the truth will set you free. And so did Martin Luther King. And so did others along the way. The truth will set us free. And if what the public health is doing is the very best thing to do, then if we do our due diligence and we find that that's the truth, we should get behind it and do our best to do what's best for our communities. But I can tell you, without free market system, without trade, without the American dream of entrepreneurship, we will not have American independence, because American independence depends on capitalism. Without capitalism, we can't be free. So we have to decide what's more damaging. And we have to find a way. We have to look for treatments. We have to get to the vaccine. We need to protect the most vulnerable first. The aging, the immune suppressed, the black and brown communities, they should be the first, the highest priority. And then we need to think about our little guy, the little small mom and pop businesses that are a giant in our world. They represent 70 to 90% of our economy. They're the ones that are creating the jobs, keeping people from being homeless. So I think it's important for us to do this. I think it's too bad we had to protest to get this message out, but you know what? If that's what we have to do, we're Americans. We're strong. We can put our heads together and we can have this conversation and we can search for the truth together. And I think we're going to find answers that are amazing, and we'll get out of this faster than ever. We've got to fight for that. We have to fight for our small businesses. They're telling me, the restaurant, I'm sorry, I get short of breath in these masks. Plus I'm cold. The small businesses are telling me, Sue, whatever you're doing, it sounds really good, but if you don't open that soon, if they don't open soon, we're not going to be here. We're just not going to last that long. So, I don't know what to say, Sue. And I said, I don't know what else to do but to resist, to make my voice heard at any cost. We have to do this. And that's what we're doing. These are policymakers from all over California standing on those steps behind me, who are standing side by side for the little guys, for the small businesses. They're saying, we want to seek the truth. We want to know the data. We want to know the epidemiology and the medicine and the economics. And we want to know about our constitutional laws and our rights. And we need to all be doing that as citizens. That's our duty to do that.
All right, Supervisor.
I'm sorry I'm being cut off, but
No worries. One more question for you.
No more questions, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
call me later.
Yeah, we'll have more people down here for you in a moment. Thank you.
Thank
We
you
need
so
you up front,
much.
okay? Thank you.
Through it, and we can do this. We can conquer this thing, and it just takes, first of all, listening to other people and not taking one tyrannical voice that says do it my way or do it the highway. We can't have that.
So far in terms of how you, is there like an alternative ways to, instead of having everything still keep people safe?
We certainly can. If you looked at the venue was huge. We were as far apart as we much farther apart than all. But I'm not. Don't worry, you're good. But the thing is that we do that. And listen, you can catch it anywhere. You can catch it. You are probably safer outside freezing if you don't get pneumonia. You're safer in that venue than you would be at home. Because again, it comes down to respect. I believe that everybody has that ability to make those decisions for themselves. My constituents are a heck of a lot smarter than I am. I signed on for this job. I'm the idiot. But at the end of the day, I have to fight for their rights to actually live and thrive and fail and succeed.
My question was more sort of what the alternative was to shutting everything down. Like, are there...
The alternative is right now, because of when you look at all the data and incorporate that, local policymakers like myself and many of the people up there on those stairs, we make decisions for our own counties, for our own cities, for our own areas, and we see them thrive. And we can do that right now. And the numbers of the people that are going to get sick and unfortunately pass away are probably going to be about the same regardless of lockdowns or not. In fact, may even be less with no lockdowns. However, the damage because of the lockdowns on so many levels are quantifiable now, and they are horrible and needs to stop.
So this may seem like an obvious question. So would you say that you disagree with Walmart and Target and some of the other big box companies being open, but yet the small businesses that maybe have 1 or 2 people in there at one time, you believe that is wrong for the big box stores to be open? And
I don't think any of them should have shut down any time, but it makes it even worse when you pick and choose losers. Walmart, Target, and all the big ones, I have nothing against them. They deliver a great service to people,
yes.
But they have that lobbying ability and say, don't you dare shut us down, we're essential. That's evil in itself. I was a small businessman myself for 40 years. I know what it takes. You can't just start back up. These are generations longs of businesses. And each one of those businesses, each one of those employees is a paycheck. And a paycheck's essential to pay rent, to buy clothes, feed your kids, and live. It's time we start living again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Your first last name?
Yeah, my first and last name is Jeff Hewitt, Jeffhewitt. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
This off. I am safe. Everybody's safe. That's fine. I don't know if there's any questions. You can see this rally. What's fantastic is the people that have come out. You see a family over here. You've got people that have showed up. There was some kids out here. They've come out to speak up. Whether you're in support of opening or closing, the number one thing is being heard. Secondly, we have an assembly. We had about 15 or 20,000 people logging online just to pay attention to what was being said. We had medical doctors, we had oncologists, we had experts in the field all talking about safe parameters of how to open, and so we could keep our businesses. This beautiful Capitol, as I was talking about when I gave my little speech, this beautiful Capitol, all the employees, all the amazing services that are here in the state of California, this wonderful state of ours, it's the taxpayer that makes it all possible. It's not the government. The government does not generate money. The government takes money from those that generate it, and that's the small businesses more than any other. 70 to 80% of your jobs in your community, in my county of San Joaquin, 70 to 80% of the jobs are small businesses. Service industry, not big box, not high tech. Google's not there. We don't have Amazon. We have Amazon warehousing, we do, but we don't have the big high tech. Oracle's not there. Facebook's not there. So we have mom and pop shops. When you're shutting them down, you're shutting down the revenue sources for us as a government official, for us to give services to those most in need. That's the risk. It's the youth. It's those that are falling through that don't have a safety net. So that's why it's important in a multitude of ways, because when those doors shut, it's harder to reopen. They've put everything they have, all the money they have. Not everybody's an entrepreneur. I own a business. I make a payroll every week. I know the difficulty. I talk to these contractors. I talk to business owners and what it's like going through, and they're shutting down. So we have to, as elected officials, we have to stand up and fight for all of you, all the people that are gathered in favor of or in protest. We have this one great state of California that we are responsible for. We are working for you. If you want to be more safe, you want to stay home, absolutely we support that. If you want to open up, we support that happening with safety parameters. There's mechanisms in place, there's science. We know that by wearing a mask and being safe, you can protect yourself from this virus. It's scientifically proven, statistically proven, it is effective. So we support that. So I don't know if you have any questions, but
I do. I just spoke with the San Joaquin Office of Emergency Services earlier this week, and they talked about the ICUs being so full. It's like two to a room. What's your response to opening businesses when ICU are overrun and the National Guard's helping and Lodi?
So that's a great question. Because we're at zero capacity, we are months, not weeks. We are months away from opening up, beginning the green light and going from the deep purple that we are into the red, which of course is restrictive, before we can even get to the orange or yellow. So we are going to be hammering businesses with the current restrictions, and they won't be able to open for months. How do you not pay rent for months? How do you not pay your car payment for months? How do you not feed your kids for months? We must, of course, support our local businesses. Every job is essential. It wouldn't exist. Right? Every payment for your car, for your insurance, for your food, for your child care, for your medical care, that's all essential. Your job is essential. That's why we do it.
So you feel that the stimulus check, this newest round of stimulus, has just been just a Band-Aid to cover a gate?
There is not enough money from the government to help everybody's needs. It's just flat out not going to happen. I don't care what they say, what they pretend, because a lot of people in government like to think that they are the answer, when the reality is the government is most disconnected from the small business owner because they're in great big fantastic buildings like this and they're working hard on behalf of their job and their duty. But I'm asking for the governor's administration, the governor's advisors, the governor's experts nothing's in stone, nothing's irreparable, nothing can be undone. So let's fix this, walk this back a little bit. We shut down, let's peel off a layer or two, let's listen to what we actually know is safety parameters that work. Hairstylists, we know that indoors, just getting your haircut indoors, or outside dining, or inside dining, we know that is not the top spreading place. A grocery store is, but they're open. So we must amend and take into consideration these hundreds of thousands, and in reality, millions of lives that are affected by each shutdown or any sector.
So 0% ICU bed capacity in San Joaquin County. Do you really think that reopening is the best plan?
That's a great question. Is reopening the best plan? Okay, so if we know that, let's say the services that a business that's restricted from opening right now does open, and we know that that's not in the San Joaquin County with all the contact tracing, thousands of hours, thousands of calls and tracks, not one case was traced back to a hair salon. So let's walk it back. Not everything, listen, not every single thing can open. Okay, I understand maybe a nightclub and bars and people in close proximity inside of a bar, that may not work, and my heart bleeds for those people. But maybe that same place is able to do food service for something more. I don't know. We can't do everything for everybody, but anything that we can amend, we should. We need to take into account and consider. Listen, it's this state depends on taxpayers. It doesn't happen without it. Yes, sir.
Should masks be optional or mandated?
No, I think masks are absolutely encouraged. And when you have an 80% rate of people wearing masks, you are absolutely flattening and bringing down the spread of the disease. That's absolutely known and proven. It's 80% is the buy-in for it.
It should be our choice to wear it or not, right?
It can be your choice, absolutely. And I'm in favor of that. Yes, sir.
I know a couple of salon owners that had to lay off their employees.
Yep.
And when they went to apply for the business loan, they were denied because they didn't have any employees.
Yeah, the business loans were not taking into account the fact that you're not paying rent. So in San Joaquin County, we just took $15 million from our general fund, and we are going to be helping about 500 businesses is our number. About 500 businesses will qualify up to $25,000 to help them on back rent, to help them to keep the doors from shutting. So anything that some can do, and I've heard that some of the new money coming from Washington is also going to address rent and people being able to cover their lost expenses. So
sorry, we're gonna have to.
We're good.
Our
Thanks,
permit is expiring. So
All right.
Patty, thank you so much. Go ahead.
thank you all.
Boomer can hook you up if you want to do something.
I'm
that
here
cannot
for you
be
guys. Thanks, Tab. I got it. What's that? That was Supervisor Tom Patty, TOMPATTI, Supervisor San Joaquin County. Okay, real quick, just to wrap up a couple of facts. We had our conference this weekend at the Rancho, at the Murrieta Equestrian Center. That's a 44,000 square foot arena. We were outdoors, socially distanced, kept with all the protocols going on there. We were greeted by doctors that talked about the different treatments and different options that could be used for coronavirus. We talked to sheriff's officers about the way that enforcement has affected their ability to provide public safety. We were talking to economists about the economic impacts that has happened on the state. So I want you guys to make sure you check that out. You can visit our website at reopencalnow.com, reopencalnow.com. We would encourage you guys to do so. My name is Boomer Shannon. You can reach me at info@Reopen Cal Now. I had a question. Boomer. It's on the website.
Did you actually come out of that conference with a plan, a structured plan, or is it just, hey, we can open, and you figure it out.
Look, science is very simple. So the way that the scientific method works is that you have a hypothesis. We know that we have a problem with coronavirus. It is the scientific method to take different steps to look at what goes on there. It's not just one science that matters. This conference is about understanding many different perspectives. What different medications? They talk about phleboxamine, they talk about hydrochloroquine, they talk about all these other things that might be possible to help stem the tide of the coronavirus pandemic. Right, so this is more a discussion. It is not a singular plan, but it is different people with different perspectives talking about different ways that we might be able to help everybody in the state of California deal with the pandemic.
Is there still tickets available for tomorrow?
There are no tickets available. We closed registration for contact tracing reasons.
Okay.
Yes, you can find all that on the website. Info at Reopen Cal Now. You can reach us. We'll make sure you guys get a press kit.
Right.
Yes.
The big factor was there were a lot of different people, and I think the best idea was to talk to people. Are there any other unifying ideas put forward besides rolling back the lockdowns, or anything else that's lost?
Well, that we need to have a discussion at the medical level. We need to have a discussion at the local elective level. We need to have a discussion at the capital level of how we can help or how we can help people. Right now, there's no discussion. Governor Newsom does not have any discussion with anybody else. Those discussions don't happen at the medical level. There are doctors that say there are different things that we can do. There are electeds that say there are different things that we can do. But nobody's having that discussion. That's what we came away with this weekend, is that we must have discourse. A free society depends on discourse, not just one side or another and shaming them into believing just one thing. Any other questions, guys? Great, thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
And we deal with everything in a nation that is just so full of potential, and we end up turning in on ourselves over what kind of patch we wear on our shoulder. This can't go on. This conference that has gone on out at Rancho Murrieta has been, for the last few days, something that has encouraged me that not only this country has a future, but it may very well have the brightest future it has ever had, because we have heard experts in the fields of science, law enforcement, and others, economics. We've seen that we can do this. There's no reason that we can't. Get our kids back into school. Get people back to their jobs. Get more cars on the road, damn it. I want to be stuck there listening to my favorite person yell at me on the radio. But look it, today's about this. We got a fine group. I would actually like to thank the fact that we can have a permit, come out here, feel safe. The media, let me tell you, this message needs to be heard, not only here in California, but all over the country. And we're going to have a fine group of speakers right now, and I'm going to turn the mic over to one of my good friends, Spike Cohen, and he's going to give us a little bit what he's thinking for a few minutes. Thank you. Who here is ready to end this system where politicians claim that they know whether or not you're essential? Who here is ready to get back to our lives and reopen safely? Folks, I believe that in order for us to be able to talk about how to move forward, we have to remember how we got here. For the first few weeks that we knew that COVID-19 existed, if you felt sick and went to a doctor and said, "Doc, I'm not feeling too hot, I think I might have this coronavirus thing that I'm hearing about," that doctor had to tell you that there was no way for them to test you. Not because there weren't test kits available, because there were, but because for the first nearly 2 months that we knew the virus existed, the federal government did not allow healthcare workers to test you for COVID. Let me say that again. After we are, because I like getting booed, after, what are we told all the time? We got to get tested as often as possible. Many people that have it don't even know they have it. There are many people that spread it asymptomatically. We have to get people tested as often as possible. For 2 months, we didn't know who had it. We actually had American companies that were producing approved and working COVID-19 test kits, and they had to sell them all to other countries because it was illegal for them to sell them here, and it was illegal for healthcare workers to do their jobs and save people's lives. That is one of the biggest contributors to why this virus spiraled out of control in this country. And many state governments, as a result of that, apparently looked at what the federal government was doing and said, oh, you think you botched things? Here, hold my beer. They went and they took COVID-19 patients and they put them in nursing homes. Now, what are we told all the time? We're told that the people that are the most likely to die of this virus are people that are elderly and people that have multiple health conditions and other comorbidities and things that are already making them sick, and that this can potentially make them much more likely to die than someone in the general population. So what do? They put the COVID patients in with the most vulnerable of the Americans, of the people in this country. Even as the people that ran those nursing homes said, we have no protocols in place to protect our residents from the COVID patients. And those health departments said, that's what it says on this sheet of paper, that's what I gotta do. And as a result of that, this virus spread like wildfire, and the fatality rate was very high because it was spreading mostly among the most vulnerable among us. And those state governments around the country seized upon the fear they created with their botching and bungling of this crisis to push for these lockdowns. Now, this started, of course, with 14 days to slow the spread. And we're in, what, day number 315, 316? Because 14 days to slow the spread at some point turned into everyone stay home until further notice until we eradicate all disease. And that's what led to them telling you whether or not you're essential. Now, everyone here, show of hands, raise your hands if your state government has ruled your line of work or your business to be non-essential.
Me! Over here!
Okay, I see a few hands here. Keep your hand raised if you agree with them that you're not essential. All those hands went down. So, it's very clear why. You know that you are essential. You know that it is essential for you to be able to earn a living, to be able to put food on your table, to be able to keep a roof over your head. It is essential for you to be able to continue to work. And that is the problem that we are facing right now. Now, we also know that these lockdowns don't work. In fact, the World Health Organization actually warned against long-term lockdowns. They said it's one thing to have a week or two, but you can't have long-term lockdowns. They actually came out and said that long-term lockdowns do nothing to slow the spread of the virus over the long term, and that they increase things like suicides, they increase things like overdoses, they increase things like child malnourishment, they increase things like poverty and homelessness, and they increase many other things that have much higher fatality rates than the virus itself. So we've seen how counterintuitive this is. We also see that it doesn't really work to slow the spread. Right here in California, which is one of the states with one of the most stringent lockdowns and has had some of the most stringent lockdowns during the time of this pandemic, the rate of infection is somewhere around 6,400 per 100,000, so about 6.4%, give or take. I live in South Carolina. I usually get applauded when I say that, but that's fine. I live in South Carolina. In South Carolina, we had pretty much no lockdowns at all. And our rate of infection is roughly 6.4%. Now, some people say, yeah, but your state's a lot different than California. That's true. Florida is very similar to California in climate, in population density, in general economic layout, and in all the different ways that you would judge a large population in a state. And their rate, and they did have lockdowns initially, but they ended up getting rid of them and have not resumed them. Their rate of infection is about 6.4%. It's almost as though, and there are other states, by the way, there are states that have stronger lockdowns and have lower rates. There are states that have stronger lockdowns and higher rates. There are states that have little to no lockdowns and have higher rates, and there are states that have little to no lockdowns and have lower rates. it's almost as if these lockdowns aren't doing much to actually slow or affect the spread of the virus at all, and it has much more to do with other factors related to that state itself. Now, I could sit here and I could quote statistics all day long, but the reality is, I don't need to tell you statistics to tell you that these lockdowns aren't working. That's why y'all are here, because it makes sense that government can't save your life by destroying it. It makes sense. No, oh, by the way, keep clapping. Never feel like you can't applaud me. Okay, ever. If at any point you feel the need, ever at any time, to applaud, hoot, holler, say, you're the best, Spike, whatever you want to do. I will not stop you. I will actually stop talking so that you can continue applauding.